Good morning. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted via WebEx, an online digital platform, and will be live streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. My name is Nancy Oman, and I will be chairing this hearing. Panel members participating via WebEx and who can be seen and heard are Carl Nipfel, Larry Clay, Peter Reed, and Lisa Valentini. City staff will be assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating the WebEx platform. Agents, applicants, and other interested parties participating in this virtual hearing registered in advance and will be connecting through WebEx using a compatible electronic device. Their participation will be through audio only. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and it is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to the property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision for an application must submit a written request by email to the general email address for the Committee of Adjustment, Toronto and East York District Office. Please include your name, address, and an email address. All Committee of Adjustment and TLAP notifications and appeal updates will be sent by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal known as the OLT. Appeal instructions will be set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. Participants who have registered in advance will be connected to this virtual hearing and will be muted automatically upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired, and when the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee, and I will comment when you're reaching the 5-minute mark. When addressing the committee, please speak slowly and clearly state your name and address. Please confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. Where required, the applicant or agent will proceed first with a presentation of the application, and then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have completed their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent will be unmuted and will have an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will be taken into committee for a decision. Please note, the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled of notice are informed of the changes. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, have the minutes of the last Committee of Adjustment public hearing been confirmed by the members?
Yes, they have. That's for September the 1st.
For September the 1st. Okay, can I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the September 1st meeting? Moved by Mr. Nipfel, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Okay, the minutes for the September 1st meeting were adopted unanimously. Panel members or staff, does anybody have an interest to declare? No? Okay, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, are you aware of any files that need to be closed?
Not this morning.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, the first item is item number 138 Rosedale Valley Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Presentation materials from Mr. Pimentel, the applicant. We have email correspondence from Heritage Services. They don't have any concerns. Planning also and Ravine also don't have any concerns, nor does the TRCA, and Forestry is asking for condition number 2. And I don't show any speakers other than the agent. Okay, is the agent on the line?
Yes, I am. Good morning. My name is Pedro Pimentel, architect, and I'm the applicant as well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't think we need a presentation. Panel members, do you have any questions for the applicant? Seeing none. Okay, Mr. Pimentel, we've read all the materials that were submitted. We don't have any questions. Is there anything you want to add that wasn't in the materials received?
Well, we just received yesterday clearance from urban forestry. I spoke with Mr. Cody Batista, and he confirmed that it was not required a condition. He overlooked second time the property and the third floor addition will not affect any of the trees. So I don't know if we can avoid that condition with forestry.
Well, I haven't seen any correspondence from forestry, and I see staff is also confirming that we have nothing, but I'll just ask just to be sure. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer.
I don't see anything in the file for this particular application. Further comments from forestry. I will check one other thing, just out of the abundance of caution. Just give me a moment.
Okay. You do? I saw heritage too, but not forestry too. Okay, hold on. But forestry 2 is asking for condition number 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Don't-
I'm sorry, but we still show it as them asking for the condition, but forestry would be signing off anyway, so if they deem it's not required, then they would deal with you
Okay.
that way. Okay?
Yeah, it was sent to Mr. Patel as well, but I know I understand it was late in the day yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but we have absolutely no record of it. So, okay, so we're going to, that's the only thing you wanted to bring to our attention then, before we go into committee?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, we're in committee. Any comments? Mr. Niffel?
Madam Chairman, unless my colleagues have additional concerns, I actually think this is a very good application. It's a challenging lot. The existing building is all but obscured by existing tree cover, and the proposed addition is set back substantially from the front face of the building. I don't believe that the variances result in a development that has any visual impact on anybody. On that basis, I don't see that there's any difficulty with approving the application, and I'd like to move approval subject to forestry condition number 2.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? Mr. Reed. So motion to approve, including forestry condition number 2, moved by Mr. Nipfel, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. The second item is item number 2, 24 Marshall Street.
We have a deferral request on this, Madam Chair.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevation. We did have correspondence in opposition from number 22 and 26, which are both adjacent property. But I don't show any speakers listed in opposition. And I did see a late minute request as confirmed by Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer to defer this application. Do I have the agent on the line? I understand is it for not posting the sign, I think? Okay.
Yes, I'm the agent, Milena Jansen, and yes, we did have a misunderstanding about the signage. The signage was not posted, and so we are asking for deferral and hopefully to be able to come to the next committee of adjustment.
Okay. Thank you, panel members. Let's take it into committee on the deferral. Ms. Valentini?
Madam Chair, excuse me, it's quite obvious that deferral is required if sign statutory requirement to post the sign within the time frame. So if it hasn't been posted, there's no choice but to defer. So I'll bring a motion for deferral.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Okay, I'm going totally brain dead here because I'm so Mr. Clay is seconding. Okay, moved to defer, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? The application has been deferred. All right, item number 3 is 120 Rainsford Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Mr. Liker, hope I pronounced that right, the agent, and supporting materials, including maps, statistics, and photographs submitted by the agent. We have email correspondence from parking enforcement, and they don't have any concerns, and we have a planning report that's asking for a condition. We also have a two-signature petition in support from number 118, which is adjacent, and number 125 Rainsford Road. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Felix Leicher. I'm the agent for the applicant.
Okay, panel members, do you need a presentation on this one? No? Do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, Mr. Leicher, we've read all the materials. We're ready to make a decision on this. Is there anything that you want to add that's not in the submissions?
I think everything was submitted. Just have a-
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, panel members, let's take it into committee. Mr. Reed?
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a very benign application, just a partial third floor addition, and it's being masked in such a way to avoid any negative impacts. And particularly, I think that's important given the shape of the lot. So I think this is a minor application, and I move a motion to approve subject to community planning conditions, September 8th report, vote substantially according.
Okay, I think we lost Mr. Reed. Can I go ahead with him? Have he moved the motions? No. Okay, so I think we've lost Mr. Reed. Maybe Deputy Secretary Treasurer, you think somebody else should move the motion then?
I think if we're in the interim, since Mr. Reed, we can't see or hear him.
Okay, and I don't know who was first. Okay, Mr. Niffel, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll use Mr. Reed's comments that this is a fairly benign application. I agree.
Oh, he's back.
The roof form is an integral part of the existing building, and the addition is basically tucked into the existing roof form to make it less obvious and to make it more compatible with the existing building. All things considered, I think this is a very positive application, and like Mr. Reed, I would recommend approval, subject to the planning conditions that we have on file.
Did you want to second your former motion, Mr. Reed? Since you're
I'll
back.
second it if you
I'd
want.
be happy.
All right, so.
I'd be happy to second that.
All right, so motion to approve, including the September 8th planning conditions, moved by Mr. Nipfel, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? The application has been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 4, 133 George Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Ms. Costello, the agent, as well as email correspondence, and a transportation report prepared by Leah Consulting Limited. I don't show any opposition speakers. Can I have the agent identify herself, please?
Hello, Eileen Costello, you've been unmuted. Eileen Costello, you've been unmuted. Might be a problem there. I'm just going to give her a quick call.
Okay. If not, oh, hi. Eileen, is that you?
I apologize. I checked my system this morning and it worked.
No worries. Yeah, can you just identify yourself for the record?
It's Eileen Costello, Costello, from Eric Burles LLP, and here on behalf of the owner and applicant.
Okay. Panel members, do you need a presentation? No. Do you have any questions for Ms. Costello? Okay, Ms. Costello, we've read the materials and we don't have any questions. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add that wasn't covered?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. All right, panel members, Mr. Clay.
Sure, I'll kick this one off, Chair. I think this is a very minor variance. It's only one variance. This is a conversion. While we, don't necessarily love to see the loss of residential units downtown, the area and the block within which this is contained is commercial, very much in transition, quite likely an appropriate change of use. So I think it's a very supportable application. I'm prepared to move approval. I don't believe there are any conditions.
Okay, do I have a seconder for Mr. Clay's motion? Okay. Motion to approve moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too, thanks. Item number 5, 33 Lewis Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Presentation materials submitted by Mr. Kuna. Email correspondence from Community Planning, TRCA, who both have no concerns. Forestry's asking for condition number 2, and we have an engineering report with conditions. Correspondence in support from number 23, 31, which is adjacent, as well as 27. And then we have 3 more form letters in support from number 34, 11, and 34 Salter, 11 and 12 Lewis. And last minute, we received another letter of support from number 26 Lewis. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, hello.
Hi, can you identify yourself for the record, please?
I'm Craig Race, the architect on the project.
Okay, panel members, do you need a presentation? Do you have any questions? No questions? Okay, Mr. Race, we're ready to take it into committee for a decision. Is there anything you want to add that isn't in the materials? We've reviewed all the materials.
No, the materials speak for themselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, panel members, we're in committee. Mr. Niffel?
Madam Chairman, as the applicant indicated, the materials do speak for themselves. It's a very good submission, and I think this is a reasonable proposal for an additional suite on the property. It appears to fit into the neighborhood. I don't see any negative impacts in it. It seems to enjoy a fair bit of support. I'd like to move approval subject to forestry condition number 2 and the standard development engineering conditions for laneway suites.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Mr. Clay? I think Mr. Clay beat you by a second. Excellent. All right, motion to approve, including the standard engineering conditions, forestry number 2, moved by Mr. Nipfel, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 6, 37 CARLAW Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Catherine and Peter Maddox, the owners, email correspondence from the TRCA, and they don't have any concerns, and four form letters in support from number 89, 95, and 99, which are both adjacent neighbors, and 101 CARLAW. Okay, can I have the owners identify them, or the agent identify himself, please? I can't hear you. You're very muffled. I can barely make out what you're saying.
Okay, is that good now?
Yeah, that's better. If you can identify yourself for the record, that would be good.
Yeah, this is Parag Murkute. I am the applicant for the 97 Carla Avenue.
Okay. Panel members, do you need, hang on. Panel members, do you need a presentation on this one? Do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, sir, we've read all the materials, and we are ready to take it into committee to make a decision. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the materials that were submitted?
No, only this is for 97 Carla Avenue, because at the start, I think I heard of 37 Carla Avenue.
No, 97 CARLAW.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's take it into committee for a decision. Ms. Valentini?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a very straightforward application. It's just a simple second-story addition over the existing footprint. I don't think these variances, or I think these variances, in my view, meet the test for minor variance, and I think, and there's support from adjacent neighbors as well. So on that basis, I'd like to bring forward a motion for approval of the application without any conditions.
Okay, do I have Mr. Reed? Okay, motion to approve, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for that.
All right, take care. Item number 7, 35 Douglas Drive. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a previous decision affecting the property, presentation materials, as well as supporting materials from Franco Romano, the agent. We have 2 form letters in support from numbers 31 and 39 Douglas, and we received last-minute correspondence yesterday in support from number 28 Douglas Avenue. Do I have the agent on the line?
Madam Chair, I'm going to unmute the agent, but we have a last-minute registrant. I'm not sure whether he's in opposition or support.
Okay. Is that person on the line?
We have Enrique on the line.
Enrique or Franco Romano?
Oh, sorry, pardon me.
Bear with us 1 second.
Mr. Romano, you've been unmuted.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, can you just identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, Franco Romano, Action Planning Consultants, here on behalf of the owner.
Okay, thanks. Jacob, so do I have somebody? Okay, Mr. Romano, can you just bear with me a second? I'm just gonna go to the speaker to see if they're in opposition or not. I'm sorry, Edward what?
Edward Polchi, you've been unmuted.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Edward Polsey. I'm at 44 Douglas Drive, which is across the street and just to the east of the the home.
Would you mind spelling your last name, please?
Yes, P-O-L-C-I.
Okay, are you in opposition, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'll come back to you after the applicant gives us a brief presentation then, okay?
Great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Mr. Romano, as you've heard, you have somebody in opposition, so if you can do a presentation, no more than 5 minutes, starting now.
Thank you to staff for bringing up my presentation slide. You'll see on the first slide, this is an air photograph of the street itself, and in the broken yellow line, I've demarcated generally where the front walls of the dwellings are on both sides of Douglas Drive. And then there's some pictures that illustrate some of those front yard conditions. But in between the street, or the sidewalks, if you want to look at the sidewalk, and the front wall of the dwellings, you'll see that within the streetscape, vehicles in the front yard on driveways are a frequently occurring condition. And those conditions occur where they are facing an integral garage, but also occur where they are facing the side yard of the individual properties. And that is the condition that the subject site finds itself today, and has found itself since the building was constructed, I guess in the late 90s, early 2000s. My client did not construct a dwelling. My client purchased the dwelling the way it is, and ever since they've occupied the property, they've had to park in the front yard because the garage that's attached to the dwelling near the rear, off of the side lot line or the side wall of the building, is inaccessible. So the condition that's being proposed today is to maintain that existing parking condition in the front, although the parking space is being situated such that it is completely on private property. And you'll see that that minimizes any impacts on the property. The front yard landscaping still is well in excess of the zoning requirement. We have over 73% of the front yard in the landscaping condition. There is no landscape variance. And over it's almost 64% of the front yard landscaping is soft landscaping. You'll see in the lower right-hand side of the visual where I have the number 35. It's the second picture from the right-hand side in the bottom. That is the subject site. You'll see that it is very well landscaped. It's an elegant dwelling. It's an elegant property, and all of that is to be maintained and retained. The effect of having the parking space fully on the property instead of overlapping the property line onto the right-of-way that's shared with the adjacent neighbor, the supporting neighbor to the one side, is to basically increase the amount of permeable paving for that parking space by about 2 square meters. So there's no increase in built form, massing. The additional floor area is just to allow the garage that's at the back of the dwelling to be habitable space. So I show that actually in the next slide, but I don't think I need to go there because I'm probably approaching my 5 minutes. So
No, you have a bit of time if you want to go to it. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you kindly. So on slide 2, you'll see in an aqua color near the parking in the upper left, you'll see that is where the parking space is being accommodated completely on property. We worked with planning staff in order to minimize that amount of space, and everything else that's in the front yard is being retained and maintained in that condition. We'll see that we've also shown along that side lot line where the I guess the existing technical access to the garage is located is to be sodded, and also with a walkway for the mud room entrance along that side of the dwelling. Otherwise, there's no site alteration whatsoever. In terms of floor space index, if we walk along the street, you're going to see 2 3-story dwellings, similar footprint to what's the current dwelling is. So the floor space index is consistent with what we see for these larger dwellings on the street. So I would submit that there's no unacceptable adverse impacts, certainly none on the streetscape. And it's my submission that the proposal satisfies all 4 tests for a minor variance, and I request the committee to approve the application.
Thank you, sir. We'll have you back after we hear from the opposition. Mr. Polsey, are you there?
Hello?
Hi,
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can. If you can just identify yourself again, name and address for the record, and then we'll start the clock. You'll have 5 minutes to state your objections.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Edward Polsey, P-O-L-C-I. I live at 44 Douglas Drive. My wife and I own that house. We've been there for 37 years. We have no objection to the parking changes. Those are standard, pretty much, as Mr. Romano has said, pretty much what everybody's doing now, which is parking in the front of their house to the side, and that's fine. So those first two are fine. The objection we have is with respect to number 3. This home was built some years ago. It was approved as a renovation, which provided up to 69% of the lot space to be living space. In fact, it was a new build, and the construction went on for, I'm guessing, about a year or so. And was approved over the objection of some neighbors, but we were assured by the owners at the time, who were the Carls, that the space at the back, which has been requested to be closed in, that would never be closed in. It was simply going to be an open parking spot. And we observed that you couldn't possibly get a car in there, but he insisted he could get his car in there, so he would park it in there sideways some nights, and I think just to prove that he could get his car in there. So that continued for a while. The Carls moved some years later, I think 4 or 5 years after they rebuilt the house. New people came in, and I believe it was them that asked the Perdues, who live at 39, I think, if it was acceptable for them to put a covering over the garage area, because they couldn't park their car in there, but they had their garbage stored in that area, and there were rodents getting into their garbage. So the Perdues said, fine, go ahead. I don't think there was any permission given by the city to enclose it, but it was done. And now, exactly what the Carls said would never happen, and which we suspected would happen, there's a request to enclose this space as living space, which bring it up to 80% of the lot. This is clearly not minor, and that house currently would be the second largest house percentage-wise, just based on observation on the street. This is a street of families, 2, 3, and 4 kids. There are some retired couples, some empty nesters, and we would like to preserve it as a street that does not have outsized homes, which don't fit on the street. It's not a bad-looking house, but it clearly does not match or it's not similar to the other houses on the street. There are 2- and 3-story homes on the street similar, but this house is clearly larger. It's, as I say, it's the second largest house on the street already. And the parking, when the Carls applied for all of this, they insisted that it was accessible parking, and I just heard Mr. Romano say that it is not accessible, which is the point that we made at the time. So we are asking, with respect, that the committee not permit this 80% build-out. The street does have historical designation, and we need to protect those values and the character of the street. And that's my submission. I'm happy to comment further if you like.
Thank you, sir. Panel members, do you have any questions for Mr. Polsey? No? Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Romano, can you please speak to the concern raised about the FSI?
Yes, the FSI is located within a dwelling that requires no variances for building position. So front yard setback complies, side yard setbacks comply, rear yard setbacks comply. Building length is all within the permitted building length and depth. There are no variances associated with that, as well as building height. There is no building height variance. So in terms of the massing, the deployment of that floor area is located in an area where one is to be expected to have a building constructed, whether or not there is an integral garage. The garage garage is typically excluded from gross floor area, which is why the 0.69, I suppose, that was previously authorized by permit by a previous owner would have proceeded without a variance. So the request for a variance now is to allow that enclosed garage at the back to count as floor area. Has no effect on the massing otherwise. And as the resident pointed out, there are other dwellings on the street that have a floor space index that are similar and larger than what is being proposed. There are a number of 3-story dwellings on the street and within the neighborhood that exceed the permissions under the zoning bylaw, and indeed exceed other requirements under the zoning bylaw, like side yard setback. For example, the next door neighbor has a side yard setback that is less than the zoning bylaw requirement. So those are examples of building mass, and the deployment of their floor area is still respectful of the streetscape and also the heritage features of the area. You see that Heritage Preservation Services has no concerns with the proposal whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you have any questions for Mr. Romano? Okay, if there are no questions, Mr. Nipfel, your hand was not on the screen, sorry. Go ahead.
Apologize, Madam Chair.
No worries.
We have a previous variance decision in our package of material, and it indicates that the garage, as the Mr. Polsey indicated, that it was once a carport, and there was an application to enclose it to make it a garage, and that application was denied. So it's a question of whether or not the purpose of the application is correct. It sounds as though, from the information we've been given, that the garage is in fact not legal because the enclosure of it, of the space as a garage, never received the appropriate variance approval. And so I don't have difficulty with what you're proposing to do now, but I do think that what's existing, it appears from what we've got, unless there's something missing, is not legal. And I'm wondering if Mr. Romano or if the Deputy Secretary Treasurer could speak to that.
Thank you. Madam Chair, the 2000 decision involved a completely different building. So that is not the building that's before us today. What we are looking at today is a lawfully constructed, zoning bylaw compliant building and garage in the back. There is no notice of violation, no order to comply, no outstanding building permit for the property at all. So the 2000 decision is a completely different, and I couldn't tell you the details of it, but it is for a completely different site development.
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Any further questions, panel members? Okay, seeing none, we're ready to go into committee. Mr. Romano, anything that wasn't covered that you want to add before we go into committee to make a decision?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, panel members. Mr. Niffel?
Madam Chairman, I think this is a commendable application. Clearly, there's a room, space at the back of the building that is unusable. I don't know how the original owner ever got into the garage. It looks almost impossible. And transforming that space into living quarters, I think, is a reasonable thing to do. In response to Mr. Polsey's comments, I don't see that this will have any impact at all on the street or the neighborhood. It's going to change the use of an internal existing room, and as such, I don't think that it has visible and measurable impact on the community. I think this is a slam dunk application as far as I'm concerned. The garage doesn't work and the applicant's putting together a proposal for a parking that is safe and reasonable and using the excess space for habitable purposes. On that basis, Madam Chairman, I'd be pleased to move a motion of approval without conditions.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Ms. Valentini? Okay, motion to approve the application moved by Mr. Nifl, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 8, 71 Seaton Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. And we received correspondence in opposition from number 69, which is adjacent. I believe she was, is she on the line? Because the correspondence shows she was unable to attend. So I'm, for item number 8, Erin Doyle.
So I emailed Aaron Doyle, and because there's no phone number to get in contact and I haven't received a response, nor are they in the hearing.
Okay, so they're not. Okay, so it did state in her correspondence that she was unable to attend. Her concern was regarding construction and damages. So that's not related to the committee. I didn't read anything related to the actual variances. If anyone else did, please let me know. But in the meantime, can I have the agent please identify himself for the record?
Yes, good morning. I'm Michael Forte, agent for the owner.
Okay, panel members, do you need a presentation on this? Do any of you have any questions? Mr. Clay.
Sure, just want to confirm for the balcony or the deck, is there screening on that? I couldn't make it out from the drawings. The agent there?
Mr. Ford?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I thought you were just pulling the drawings up now. I believe it's something is shown in the elevation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's dotted in, but yes, there is screening there.
Is that opaque screening?
I believe so, yes. I'm not sure if it's noted. Yeah, you can see it from that view. Looks to be opaque.
Okay, if I'm not entirely sure it does show that, but if we decide to approve it, would you be okay with a condition that requires opaque screening?
I don't see an issue with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions, panel members? Okay. Let's take it into committee. Is before we do that, Mr. Forte, anything to add that wasn't in the submissions?
There was an email that was just sent. We received a letter of support from the neighbor at 75 Seaton Street this morning.
Okay. We don't have it, unfortunately, but noted. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Panel members, let's take it into committee for a decision. Mr. Clay?
Sure, I'll just continue. I'm quite comfortable with this application. I think the third floor addition is appropriate to the street. It retains the facade, the massings to the rear. I understand the adjacent semi-owner's concerns about construction, and I imagine those will be addressed through the building permit process and through discussions. This seems like an appropriate addition. I would like to move approval of it, but I would like to put a condition in just to ensure that that deck is screened properly with opaque screening.
Which sides through you, Madam Chair?
Can you specify the sides or the plan or elevation or?
I believe it's the north and south side, Larry.
Thank you very much, Carl. I was just looking that up, trying to see where the location map was. Yes, the on the north and south sides of the deck.
Is it Okay, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, does that work? Do we need to specify the level also? Rear third story.
Is it, all right, do we have to say 1.5 meters?
Yeah. It's the
Okay.
standard phrasing. So opaque screening on the north and south side of the rear third story deck to 1.5 meters. Okay. Does that work for you, Mr. Clay?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for that? Mr. Reed? Okay, so the motion is to approve the application with the condition that was just outlined for opaque screening on the third story rear deck, north and south sides, to 1.5 meters, moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 9, 71 Robbins Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from the owners, Paul and Sarah Murdoch, as well as parking documents submitted by the owners, and a rendering of the subject property also sent in by the owners. We have email correspondence from Permit Parking. They don't have any concerns except if there are any alterations done in the front, they want them to come to them for approval. And planning is asking for a condition. Let me just get that. So basically the condition is the variance number 2 related to the front yard setback be limited to the front proposed one-story porch enclosure in accordance with the dimensions shown on drawings A006, A702 and A703. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Yes. Hello, this is Paul Murdoch, owner and architect for 71 Robbins.
Mr. Murdoch, have you seen the planning report?
I have, yes.
Are those the correct drawings being referenced?
I believe so.
Okay. Mr. Niffel? Can't hear you. Sorry, Carl. I think you're muted.
I believe there's a small mistake in the planning recommendations, and I believe the architect will agree with me. What they've cited is the front elevation, the side elevation, and the rear elevation. The rear elevation has nothing to do with the planning department request. I think what they meant is the side elevation and the front elevation, and instead of the rear elevation.
So 703 should be 701. Is that what you're suggesting, Mr. Niffel?
Hold on a second and I'll pull up the ones I think it is. I think it's intended to be 701, 702, and the site plan.
Yeah,
That relates to what their concern is. The rear elevation has nothing to do with the variances.
Correct, it's only pertaining to the front porch.
Okay,
So that would be the north elevation, A701.
Okay. Okay, and guess I just want to clarify that. We also have support, 14 form letters of support from both adjacent owners at 73 and 79, or 69 rather, as well as 12 more residents on Robbins Avenue. Okay, panel members, do you have any more questions for the agent? I don't think we need a presentation. Seeing none. Okay, Mr. Murdoch, we're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to?
Madam Chair?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I just realized, do we need elevation 704, which is the east side of the porch? I don't know if it shows anything significantly different. Do we need both the east and west elevations? Just throwing that out there. One shows a window, one doesn't.
is part of the package. It's sheet number 13 in the PDF.
Okay, well, we can add that if we want to, in any motion. Mr. Murdoch, is there anything that you want to add, and would you have any objection to us adding drawing 704 also?
I think everything's been included in the material, and I have no objection to that.
Okay. Panel members, let's take it into committee. So if for any motion would be to amend the planning report to remove drawing A703 and replace it with A701 and add A704. Mr. Nipfel.
Madam Chairman, I think that this is a straightforward and a rather sensitive application. The applicant has indicated that is concerned with retaining the rhythm of the existing buildings on the street, which is admirable. And in order to make that, to retain that, he's gone to the trouble of pulling back the enclosure so that the pilasters and the columns that exist and that contribute to that rhythm are still visible. I think this is a sensitive application and one worthy of approval. It clearly meets the 4 tests. I'd like to move approval subject to the revised planning condition, which do I need to read again? 70, subject to the variance being limited as required by planning, and the drawings that are cited with the front elevation replacing the rear elevation and adding drawing 704.
Okay, so basically removing from their recommendation drawing A703, replacing it with A701 and adding 704.
Yes.
Yeah?
Along with the site
correct.
plan.
Along with the site plan, we'll keep that too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you've heard that motion moved by Mr. Nipfel. Do I have a seconder? Ms. Valentini? All in favor? Okay, your application's been unanimously approved with that condition.
Good. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Item number 10, 4 Gifford Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, presentation materials submitted by Mr. Mastrandrea, email correspondence from Heritage. They don't have any concerns. We have letters of support, including from number 2 and 6, which are both adjacent neighbors, and from many more people on Gifford Street, as well as 364 and 430 GERRARD, I believe. And we have residents on Naismith and Spruce Street, as well as Sackville, who also support the application. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Just need you to identify yourself for the record.
My name is Leo Mastandre. I'm the agent for the owners at 4 Gifford.
Okay, I have the owner listed. I assume you're speaking on behalf of the owner?
Yes.
Okay. Panel members, do you need a presentation? No. Do you have any questions for the agent? Mr. Clay?
Sure. I'm just looking at the visuals of the property, and there's a roof. Is there an existing 3rd floor rooftop deck on the adjacent property already?
Yes. There is on number 6. There's an existing rooftop. But I'd just like to add, if you pull up the location map, I just wanted to clarify one thing. So we're number 4, which is the 2nd unit from the corner. But number 2 and number 10 both go up to 3 stories, where number 4, 6, and 8 are only 2 stories. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
No, that's great. And I guess my question was, are you just looking to mirror what number 6 has already done?
Yes.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Mastandrea, do you have anything to add that wasn't in the materials submitted? We're ready to go into committee to make a decision.
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, we're in committee. Mr. Reed.
This is a very minor application in my opinion, and I think, as Mr. Clay mentioned, that this is really seeking to do what's already existing in the neighboring house, particularly with existing 3-story houses on the block. I think the impacts of these variance requests are extremely minor, and the variances themselves are very small, particularly with the very restrained size of the 3rd floor sunroom. So I move to approve with no conditions.
Do I have a seconder? Mr. Clay? Okay, motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 11, 164 High Park Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have an order to comply for the partially constructed shed, and we have correspondence in support from 166, which is adjacent, and I'm not showing any speakers. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hello, hi. My name is Carl Martisek, owner of 164 High Park Avenue.
Hi. Panel members, do you have any questions? I don't think we need a presentation. Any questions for the owner? Mr. Niffel.
I just wanted to know how the construction proceeded without any approval.
Yes, there was an existing shed that was, excuse me, this is my childhood home, and the existing shed that was exactly on the same footprint as it was for the last 40-odd years has eventually rotted and deteriorated away. It was a wooden shed, and I was under the assumption that if I just replaced this shed with the exact same size or footprint that has been there for the last 40 years, it would be okay, because I did not extend it in any way as it was for the last 40 years. And it turns out that there was a objection from someone, where I guess a neighbor, that did call the city. Now, I basically just tried to reconstruct the exact same footprint of the dilapidated shed.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
Any other questions, panel members? Okay, sir, we're ready to go into committee. Mr. Martisek, anything you want to add that wasn't in the materials submitted?
No, basically just what I just kind of explained, and also the roof line. I guess what I'm trying to propose, or what I'm asking for, is would be a covered patio, because I'm caring for my elderly mother at the same time, and it's just a place where we can have a shelter, or almost like a pergola, covered pergola over the shed that would extend it onto the covered patio.
Okay. Okay, panel members, if there are no further questions, we'll take it into committee. Mr. Nipfel?
Madam Chairman, I think this is a very straightforward application. I appreciate the applicant's clarification that he rebuilt a dilapidated shed for safety reasons, it sounds, and was not aware that it needed other approvals, which is fairly understandable. I think the canopy that he's proposing is an asset both to this property and one would argue possibly to the area as well, because it's going to add some shade to the area, or to the green space, particularly given that he's caring for his mother. I don't see any negative impacts to this application whatever, and I would like to move approval without any conditions.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Mr. Reed? Motion to approve, moved by Mr. Nipfel, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 12, 125 Donlands Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. And we have a staff report from community planning, and they're asking that variance 1 related to the front yard setback be limited to the proposed front porch enclosure. provided it be constructed substantially in accordance with the dimensions shown in several drawings and the site plan. Okay, also we received late 3 form letters in support signed by number 121 and 127, 123 and 127 that are adjacent, as well as number 121. Okay, do I have the agent on the line? Hello, Claire?
Oh, sorry. Yes, this is Claire Ossipchuk. I'm one of the homeowners.
Okay, panel members, I don't think we need a presentation. Do you have any questions on this one? Seeing none, okay, Ms. Ossipchuk, we have no questions. We've read the materials. We're ready to go into committee. Anything you want to add that's not in what we have? And are you aware of the planning report?
Yes, thank you, and no, nothing to add.
Okay, thanks. Okay, panel members, let's take it into committee. Ms. Valentini?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In my view, this is a very straightforward application seeking to enclose the existing front porch. I did note that the neighbor attached also has an enclosed front porch, and there are other enclosed front porches in the vicinity. We've got neighbor support on both sides. I don't see any impact as a result. On that basis, I think the conditions in the planning memo are suitable in this case and would mitigate any building further than the front porch enclosure. So I'm in favor of that. Unless anybody has any other comments, I'm happy to bring a motion for approval, and it would be subject to the conditions set out in the planning memo.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Mr. Clay. Motion to approve, including the September 8th planning condition. Moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Yep.
Just before we begin this next application, there was a late speaker who registered, and I provided him with the invite, but I don't see him in the hearing room now, so I was thinking maybe we can just go to the next one for
Okay, sure.
just to give him some more time.
Okay, we're gonna hold item 13 because we had a last minute person who
Sorry.
Oh, hang on.
He just came into the hearing
Hang
room
on.
now.
And we're not standing this down because the person is there. Okay, what's the person's name? Do you know? Or do you want Frank Jenkins? Okay. All right, so item number 13, 50 Bloomfield Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, as well as revised site plan, floor plans, and elevations received September 8th. We have a staff report from forestry. They're asking for condition number 2. We have 6 form letters in support signed by owners of number 48, 1938, 46, and 57 Bloomfield, as well as 258 Greenwood. And there's a last minute planning staff report that is asking for a condition related to variance number 1, which is related to the rear yard soft landscaping, shall be approved provided that the proposed patio as illustrated in drawing A002, the site plan, shall be installed with permeable materials. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, Madam Chair. Good morning. My name is Enrique Valencia, and I'm representing Cesar Martinez and Aaron Kelly, the homeowners.
Okay, and you're aware of the planning report?
Yes, we spoke with Sean.
Okay. All right, let me just go to the person who wants to speak to see if they're in opposition, and I'll come back to you. Mr. Jenkins? No worries.
Mr. Jenkins, I'm going to try and unmute you. I'm not sure if you're trying to unmute yourself. Mr. Jenkins, if you can hear me, I don't have a phone number for you, but I did send you an email. If you can reply to that email and send me your phone number, maybe connecting via phone would work better. Or actually, in that email I sent you, there are instructions to join by phone, so if you can try that. Oh. Mr.
Good morning,
Jenkins.
committee. My apologies, I had the application crash. This is Craig Jenkins of 48 Bloomfield Avenue in support of the application.
Hi, is it Frank or Craig?
Craig, C-R-A-I-G, last name Jenkins, Jenkins.
Okay. Are you in opposition, sir?
No, I'm in support.
And I'm sorry, I missed your address.
48 Bloomfield Avenue.
Ah, you're adjacent?
Adjacent to the 50.
Okay. So you just want to say a couple words in support, or you're just listening?
I just want to say I'm fully in support of the application. It's an improvement to the neighborhood overall. And it substantially replaces a paved area, which you know, it would not be permeable in any case. So it should actually improve the situation for drainage for the property, not diminish it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Valencia, are you there?
Yes, Madam Chair.
I don't think we need a presentation. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Seeing none? Okay, sir, we've read all the materials and we're ready to go into committee. Is there anything that you want to add that's not in the submissions?
No, I think all the due diligence has been done by us and especially the homeowner. We did try to speak with the other neighbor as well, but they didn't want to provide a comment. Apart from that, we're in the process of getting the arborist as well, once we find out the decision for this application today.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, let's take it into committee for a decision. Mr. Reed?
Thanks, Chair. I think what's being requested here is reasonable, particularly once we include the condition put forward by planning around permeable pavers. I think that it is an improvement on the existing condition, and I think it's a supportable application. So I move to approve, subject to urban forestry condition 2 and the condition in the planning memo as discussed.
Okay, motion, okay, seconded by Mr. Niffel. All right, motion to approve, including forestry condition number 2, condition in the planning report dated September 9th, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor? Application's been unanimously approved with those conditions. Okay. The next item is item number 14, 40 Chilton Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have correspondence in opposition from number 41, as well as number 38 Chilton Road. We received 2 letters from that address, or 2 pieces of correspondence from Leslie Green and Jonathan McCloy. And I believe the concerns raised were trees, loss of green space, asking for forgiveness after building something, and they wanted to know if the coverage included the parking pad. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, my name is Vladimir Bozik. I'm an architect and agent for my client.
Okay, thank you.
40 Chilton Hill.
Okay, just stand by for a second. Do you have Amy Chen?
Ms. Chen, you've been unmuted. Amy Chen, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, hi, can you just state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Amy Chen. I am the new owner of 43 Chilton, across the street of 40 Chilton.
Okay, are you in opposition to this application?
No.
No, are you
Sorry,
just,
what's it?
are you,
Can you repeat?
are you opposed to the application?
No, no. I'm just interested in knowing what's going on in the neighborhood.
Okie
'cause
doke.
I'm new.
Okay, so you're just listening in then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just listening.
All right, thanks for your interest. So, I'm gonna go back to the agent now. Okay, Mr. Bozic.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, panel members, do you need a presentation on this? Do you have questions for Mr. Bozic? Mr. Niffel?
Sorry, I cannot hear you.
I
cannot hear.
think he might be muted.
There.
There you go.
My-
Can you
my
hear him?
apologies.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, excellent. Go ahead.
Mr. Bozick, from the information that's submitted, it looks as though the garage that we're considering today is an exact replica of the garage that's attached on the property adjacent on 38. Is that correct?
So the garage, if you look at the site plan, it's existing. It's existing situation. Like it's like we are not proposing any work. So
I
what's
know,
happening?
but it's the same as. but
Same,
it's the same,
yes.
It's the same as the one on 38. Is that correct?
Yes,
Same size,
it is.
coverage, all that stuff.
Exactly, the same thing. Same thing to the next property, 38.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so just to confirm, sir, there's.
Sorry.
Hello? There's no.
I'm sorry,
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Chair. I just wanted to, if I might, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
The adjacent neighbor makes a series of claims and concerns about the loss of green space, and I'm struggling with that now that you mentioned that shed is already existing. It wasn't a new build, and the variance you're really only going for is the coverage variance. So, are you changing the landscaping or doing anything that?
No, we are not.
Green space?
No, we are not changing any landscape, nothing. So what we are proposing, because my neighbor developed during the construction bad relationship to the neighbor next to it. There is some kind of argument. I'm not going into the details if unnecessary, but they decided to keep the garage and go to committee because they were granted permit without committee of adjustment on conditional permit to demolish the garage. But then during the construction, they developed really bad, nasty relationship towards the 38. So they decided, let's not do anything. We want both parties to sleep well, no work, let's leave as it is. Like we don't want, because when you demolish garage, you have to build a neighbor garage also, partition wall, like, and if neighbor complains about the work, it will be nasty thing involving lawyers. That's how basically bad was between construction of the house. So we just want to keep everything as it is, and both parties can basically sleep well.
Okay, great, thanks.
Any other questions? Ms. Valentini?
I guess just clarification. So the complaints are coming from the neighbor next door at 38, the concerns, I guess, it wasn't complaints, but they're concerns, about coverage and whatnot, but they're the ones that also share the attached garage. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
And when you were at committee before, or, okay, when the
There
house
was no committee. There was no committee.
Because you were gonna tear the garage down, okay,
Exactly.
in order to comply with coverage, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, I just wanna make sure I understood that, thanks.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, anything you want to add, Mr. Bozak? We're ready to go into committee to make a decision.
No, that's
That's it?
pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. All right, panel members. Mr. Niffel.
Madam Chairman, the reason for my question is, I gather Mr. Clay may be in the same boat. I don't understand the objection from 38. It appears it's an existing condition. It's unfortunate that the garage is there, but as the applicant has indicated, taking it down involves taking down the adjacent garage as well. The adjacent property has exactly the same condition, the same garage, the same size, the same coverage. I don't see a difficulty with this application at all, and I frankly don't understand the objection. And on that basis, I'd be pleased to move a motion of approval without condition.
Okay, Mr. Clay seconds, so motion to approve, moved by Mr. Nipfel, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Okay. Item number 15, 46 Lindner Street, and item number 16, 44 Lindner Street are basically doing the same thing. But I guess we'll just keep that in mind. I'll read the what we have before us for 46. We have a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and presentation materials submitted by Mr. Brander. Now, basically, we have the same before us for item 16, which, as I said, is number 44 Lindner Street, but we do have email correspondence from Canadian Pacific Proximity Ontario from the Canadian Pacific Railway, just regarding, I guess, guidelines for buildings that are near railways.
Yes, that would be new construction, essentially.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard that, members. Deputy Mayor says, or Deputy Mayor, you got promoted. The Deputy Secretary Treasurer says that's for new construction. Okay, so do I have the agent on the line?
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Adam Brander. My address is 49 Bolton Avenue in Toronto.
Okay, I don't show any speakers for either one of these items. Panel members, do you need a presentation? No? Do you have any questions for Mr. Brander? Mr. Clay?
Yeah, just confirming, it looks like this build's already under construction. Is that the case?
There's permitted work for the existing construction, yes.
Yeah, no problems with that, but I'm just tracing back to the railway's letter of, not conditions, but I guess cautions, and you're aware of that, and that's all. Have you had any discussions with the railway?
Yeah, we saw the correspondence from CP Rail. It was looked at and understood as a blanket notice, as the email states, within a 500-meter radius of CP Rail. Lori, if you could bring up the location map just to refer to briefly. Michael Foderick at McCarthy provided some clarifications for us here. So that the nearest rail appearing at the bottom left corner is actually a Metrolinx rail, who do not object to this application. The further rail snippet at the very bottom left is actually a CN rail, who also don't object. And so this blanket notice from CP is actually relating to an east-west rail due south about 250 meters from the subject property, and it's situated in a trench. The rail safety guidelines were reviewed and recommend a 30-meter setback, which this 250-meter setback of the subject property well exceeds, and it's buffered by about 10 existing buildings and houses along Miller Street, as well as Lindner Street itself. So CP is not opposing to the variances, and there's evidently no cause for concern relating to this.
Any other questions, panel members? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Brander, we're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add? We've read your presentation materials and all the materials submitted.
Nothing further.
Okay, thanks. Okay, panel members, we're in committee. Can we do them with one motion, or do you want them done separately, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer?
They can be done concurrently if the outcome is the same.
Okay. All right, Mr. Clay.
Sure, I'll kick this one off. I think this is actually very straightforward. Looking at the location of the new build in this neighborhood, it's a very eclectic neighborhood. I think we can quite easily handle the additional density and additional residential accommodation. The variances themselves are quite frankly very, very minor. It seems appropriate. There's an understanding of and I think clarity around the CP rail condition. I think that's quite fine. I'm happy to move approval of the application for both 44 and 46 Lindner. There are no conditions, so if we can bundle them, that's great.
Okay, so a motion to approve moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Mr. Reed. for both item number 15 and 16, 44 and 46 Lindner Street. Do I have, yeah, is everybody in favor? Yep. Okay, so they're both approved. Thank you very much. Item number 17, 73 Burgess Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a staff report from planning with a condition they would like for variance number 2 related to the front yard setback be limited to the front proposed one-story porch enclosure in accordance with the dimensions shown on the site plan drawing north, east, and west elevations. We have correspondence in support from number 97, and we received a late letter of support from number 71 yesterday. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Sarouj, you've been
Hi, Madam
unmuted.
Chair. It's Sarouj Kalustian from HSK Design. I'm the agent for this application.
Yeah, I have Brian. Can you spell your name, please, just so I can write this down?
Serouj.
Okay.
Last name is Kalou.
Yeah.
Stian.
Stian?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, panel members, there are no speakers listed. Do you have any questions for the applicant? I don't think we need a presentation. No? Okay, Mr. Kalustian, we don't have any questions. We've read all the materials. You're aware, I assume, of the planning report?
Yes, we are.
Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
Not really, no.
Okay. All right, we'll take it into committee for a decision then. Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is about as minor as it comes. It's the reconstruction of a very small existing mudroom. And I think that the planning condition confirms that nothing additional will result as a result of this application. It's minor. So I move to approve with the planning condition in the September 7th letter.
Okay, with that motion, who would like to, Mr. Nipfel? Okay, motion to approve, including the planning condition, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Item number 18, 19 Corley Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Again, we have a planning staff report related to variance number 1, which is related to the front yard setback, shall be limited to the proposed front porch enclosure, provided that it be constructed substantially in accordance with the dimensions in the site plan, proposed ground floor plan, second floor plan, third floor plan, and the east elevation and west elevations. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, speaking. This is Jason Fung, the agent and architect on the project based in Toronto.
Okay, you're aware of the planning report?
Yes. Yeah.
And you're okay with that? I don't think we, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I don't think we need a presentation. Panel members, do any of you have any questions for Mr. Fung? No? Okay, Mr. Fung, we've read all the materials. We're ready to take this into committee for a decision. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submission?
Sure. That we have community support, most notably from 17 Corley. That's the house that's most impacted by this existing front porch enclosure.
Actually, I did neglect to mention, because we did get this late, is we have 3 form letters in support from number 16, 17, and 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're ready to go into committee. Ms. Valentini?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This, in my view, is a very minor application. It's a small front porch, and they're just seeking see there being any adverse impacts in any event from enclosing this front porch and creating a small entry mudroom. I did note there was another enclosed larger front porch, or maybe even a couple of them, in the vicinity. So this, in my view, is similar to other larger enclosed front porches. So on that basis, I'd like to bring a motion forward for approval, and I would like it to be subject to the planning condition to, and that's it.
Okay. Do I have a second, Mr. Reed? Motion to approve, including the planning condition in the September 8th report. Moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. Item number 19, 496 Scarborough Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a staff report from planning. Again, the condition related to the front yard setback be limited for variance number 1, be limited to the front proposed one-story porch enclosure in accordance with the dimensions shown in the site plan, east elevation and south elevations. Do I have the agent on the line? Oh, hang on. One more thing, sorry.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. It's Barry Goldman speaking. I'm the architect and the agent for this proposal. I'd suggest the variance we're requesting is minor. I'm happy to make a presentation if you like. Otherwise, I can answer any questions.
Yeah, I don't think we need a presentation. This is minor, but I would like to mention that we did receive a last-minute 13 signature petition in support from residents, a lot of residents on Scarborough Road.
Yeah. I'll just add, we do have the support of the adjacent neighbors on both sides.
Yeah, I was just trying to extract those from here, but I see it now, 498 and 490.
494 and 498. I think
Yep.
they're the fourth and fifth ones down.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, panel members, do you have any questions for Mr. Goldman? No. Okay, sir, is there anything you want to add that's not in the materials that, that you feel is important for us to know before we go into committee?
No, I think this one is self-explanatory. Carry on.
Okay. All right. Panel members, let's take it into committee for a decision. Mr. Niffel.
Madam Chairman, I think this is a relatively minor application. The addition does not create any negative impact that I can determine on anyone, and the front yard enclosed porch is a fairly standard improvement that's being undertaken. It's only the front yard or the front porch enclosure that planning commented on, and they've recommended a condition to limit the setback, which is the only variance, I believe, to just that porch to ensure that the porch remains one story. I think with the planning department condition, this is a very supportable application. I'd like to move approval subject to that planning department condition.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? Ms. Valentini. So motion to approve, including the planning report dated September 7th, moved by Mr. Niffel, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Okay, the application's been unanimously approved. I'd like to take a very short break till 10:45, and the next item will be item number 20 at 71 Euclid Avenue. So we'll be back at 10:45. I can see Lisa like, I made last, yeah, we did. Oh, first, ours we did. What, like 3 or 4, I think. Okay, 10:45. Chop, chop. Okay, we're back. I think. All right, we have quorum. So, item number 20 is 71 Euclid Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and we have 19 form letters in support, signed by residents on Euclid, Robinson, and Palmerston Avenue, and that includes both adjacent neighbors at 69 and 73. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes. Yeah, Brad here.
Sorry, what's your full name for the record?
Yeah, Brad New.
Okay. Panel members, I don't think we need a presentation on this one. Do you have any questions for Mr. Liu? Seeing none? Okay, Mr. Liu, we've read the material. This is a very straightforward application. The panel's ready to make a decision. Is there anything you want to add before we go into committee?
Yeah, I just want to mention that this one's a small house. If you from that's location, that's the drawing from the city. You can see if you want the second unit from back, there is no way to go to the back. Yeah, because all is by building, all semi-detached house there. So it's cannot go to back. Also, this one is a very small house. If you want to create a public, I mean like a share space in the first floor, it's very difficult because only inside the size only 12 feet, 5 inch wide. So very difficult to arrange the one share space in the first floor. So we have to put in the front entrance for a second unit. That's all.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, panel members, let's take it into committee for a decision. Mr. Clay?
Yeah, Chair, I would agree with your assessment that this is very straightforward. It is compliant with the exception of basement front walkout, and just looking around the neighborhood, it's not uncommon to see basement walkouts in this area. Secondary suites in this kind of a neighborhood, which is quite proximate to major arteries in the downtown area, I think are appropriate, and for those reasons, I'd happy to move approval of this application with no conditions.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Mr. Reed? Okay, motion to approve moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. Item number 21, 38 ERINDALE Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have forestry asking for condition number 2, and I show opposition listed for number 30, and I believe the concern was related to construction clutter. And we have a second piece of correspondence, or actually that came in our supplemental late yesterday, that opposition. Okay, is the agent on the line?
I am. My name is Ryan Kwan, agent for the owner of 38 ERINDALE.
Okay, Mr. Kwan, I think this is very straightforward. I'll just see if panel has any questions. Anybody? Okay, Mr. Kwan, we've read the materials and we have no further questions. Is there anything you want to add before we go into committee?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, panel members, we're in committee. Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. I think the variance being requested is minor. I'm just on its face as a number. It is a large number for depth, but because of the way that the houses are arranged on this street, kind of staggered and stepping back from each other, I think the impacts of this are going to be negligible. There are already other examples of very nearby houses that are quite a bit deeper than what's being proposed here. So I do think that this is a sensitive solution and a minor variance being requested. So I move to approve the application subject to urban forestry condition 2.
Okay, Ms. Valentini. All right, motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Ms. Valentini, including forestry number 2. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. Item number 22, 773 Richmond Street West. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Tatiana Silakova, the agent. We have forestry asking for condition number 1, correspondence in opposition from 771, which is adjacent, 775, which is adjacent, 769 and 757 Richmond Street West, correspondence expressing concern from 771 Richmond Street West, and we received a last minute second piece of correspondence from 775 yesterday afternoon. I have 2 speakers listed. Do you have them both? Okay, and I believe that the concerns expressed that I read were regarding trees and construction. Do I have the agent on the line?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, committee members. Tatiana Silakova is on the line, agent of the owner for 773 Richmond Street.
Okay, Ms. Silikova, I need you to do a presentation, no more than 5 minutes, and we're going to start the clock now.
We are proposing to extend the existing roof deck at the rear yard, and we are matching the existing conditions that already can be seen on the neighbored houses. And we do not project our extension more than already existing. We read the letter of supports and letter of objections from the adjacent owners, and we can speak to that the proposed construction should not, in terms of the trees, it should not affect significantly the injury of tree, and we will apply for the forestry approval prior to construction will be moved forward. And in regards to the sequence of construction, in our opinion, it also should not be an issue because the decks are for 773 Richmond Street and the further and the adjacent owner 771 Richmond Street are designed as independent decks, and they can either build in sequence or they can build independently. It doesn't matter which one starts first. So we don't see that as an issue. But the client, the owner, appreciates the concern of this adjacent tenants, adjacent owners, and he does not mind to start construction together with 771 Richmond Street, but would like to avoid putting that as a condition, just in case that the owner of 771 Richmond Street would like to delay construction or does not want to construct, may not want to construct later on. However, and also in support of the 771 Richmond Street objection, that given the time frame that we have right now, that we will have 20 days for appeal after our minor application if it's been approved, then we will need to apply for the forestry approval, and then we will need to apply for the building permit. So it will, realistically, we're looking at mid-November and November this year to start the construction, which might be a bit of late for footings installation. So it's more likely that it will be moved into the spring 2022 as the owner of 771 Richmond Street proposes. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I'll have you back after we hear from the opposition. Ms. O'Neill?
Yes, hello.
Hi, can you identify yourself, name and address for the record, please?
For sure. My name is Elizabeth O'Neill, and I am the owner of 771 Richmond Street West, which is adjacent to the property of 773 Richmond Street West.
Okay, you have 5 minutes, and we're going to start the clock now, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you for this meeting. I am in favor of this deck addition, as I have submitted with Tatiana as our agent, who is on the line today, to extend our deck as well. My concern is that, I believe Tatiana addressed this, is that I believe as we are sharing posts, footing posts, that it should be a simultaneous and a simultaneous build. And my committee of adjustment meeting has not been scheduled as of yet. It has roughly been estimated for November, and I am concerned that the construction will happen prior to this. Again, we do share footing posts together. My assumption was that we were going to submit this committee of adjustment together as a unit, 771 and 773, and that we would build this simultaneously. That is my concern.
Okay, just 1 second. Is it, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, is it scheduled yet? Do you know? West. Okay, just bear with us for a minute.
Yes.
Doesn't have a date yet.
If I can add,
Yeah, go ahead.
we did start this process together, and this is my concern that my property line may be compromised as we are sharing posts, and it may be an integral part of my deck's construction, if not built simultaneously off of 769.
Right, and I do understand your concerns. The committee does deal with the variances before us only, but let me see what Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer has to say regarding the date.
So the adjacent 771 Richmond is tentatively targeted for November 17th hearing.
Okay, so as it stands now, it's targeted to go on the November 17th agenda.
Okay.
Now, again, we have no jurisdiction over when people start building. Like, we're strictly here to look at the variances, and I did read your concerns as well in the letter that we got late yesterday, and I understand your...
I'm not under the assumption, sorry.
Yeah, no, and I do understand your concerns. It's just, it's kind of between you and the agent who's representing you.
I know.
You know, we have no control over that.
She is on the line, and you know the whole assumption was that we were going to submit these two together.
Right.
Unfortunately, I believe that the first submission, which is this, the construction drawings are different than mine.
Okay.
So this is where I'm concerned about construction, the integrity of it.
No, I understand. I'm really sorry to cut you off. It's just that I wish we could put some provisions in place, but we can't. All I can do is go back now to the agent and ask if they're going to, undertake doing the construction simultaneously as discussed, and explain why one application came before the other. Other than that, that's all we can do, and we can make note of that, but we have no authority to put conditions in place.
Thank you.
Okay, so before I go back to the agent to ask those questions, do I have the second speaker on the line? Mr. Lukács?
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Wish to raise the application that was submitted with the Toronto Building, Parks and Forestry Recreation. It was received on May 26th, 2021, regard to Article 1. Will the proposed construction activity occur within the tree protection zone of a protected tree on or within 6 meters of the subject site for city-owned and private trees? There is a tree, and I provided pictures also. The growth of the tree, it's a large tree. It's in that 6 meter range from the construction site or the proposed deck site. Just concerned about the growth, the trimming of the trees, who to engage with if the tree is to be will be removed, or if there's any suggestions for it to be removed. Who do we engage with at the city? I'm not sure if it's a city-owned tree or if it's a private tree. I believe it is a city tree. It was planted during the building of this property here, this Queen West Village property with 8 townhomes. So just wish to raise this item for the records, for the minutes of the meeting, for this meeting.
Okay, you would speak to forestry. They have an inventory, which also includes private trees, because depending on diameters, there's permissions required to remove even a private tree. So the best place to speak to is forestry. The easiest is probably to call 311 and ask, you know, for them to put you through to someone in forestry, or to have somebody from forestry contact you. But we do have a forestry condition 1, as you stated, that forestry wants us to impose should we approve this application. And also, I just need you to state your name and address for the record also.
Yes, it's Joseph Lukash at 775 Richmond Street West in Toronto.
Okay, so I hope that helps. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's good. It's the concern is also with the branches. They're encroaching onto the property. So during the build out and demolition, the branches are going to be in the way. So they're going to be trimmed back. Just raising it if there's any concern from the city or any body.
Well, if it's a city tree, then the applicant would be engaging with forestry, and they should bring that, you know, to forestry's concern, because generally speaking, the city takes care of its trimming its own trees. Okay, and
okay.
and
so
then
the thing is, on the application it says private trees, city-owned trees. The box that's ticked is no. So I don't believe it reflects the current situation here. The tree is within the 6 meters.
Yeah, I'm forestry based on the fact we have a condition. They've clearly looked at the application.
Who will be contacting? Would it be the agent?
Well, you can speak to the agent also, but if you want, like I said, the easiest is to call 311 and to ask them to connect you through to forestry, or to have somebody from forestry contact you. And I think you can do it by email also, either email or by phone. Unless
okay, thank you.
You have anything others than that to suggest, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer?
No, the neighbor can actually look at the forestry report online on the AIC. There is some contact information.
Okay, are you familiar with the Application Information Center online?
Who are you asking?
You? Yeah, Mr. Lukash.
No.
Okay. If you Google, just Google City of Toronto Application Information Center, and then you there's a couple different tabs that I'll say, is it an official plan amendment or a rezoning, I think, or committee of adjustment. Make sure you click on the dot for committee of adjustment and then plug in the address, and it'll give you the forestry report. And there, I'm told by Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, there's contact information in there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Silakova, can you please speak to the issues raised, A, the trees, and also 771, who was under the impression that these applications were coming in concurrently and that you will undertake to do construction at the same time as promised.
In regards to the tree, as I mentioned before, we're aware of the condition about the forestry report, and we will apply for get the approval to if there are any injury to the existing tree. But there is no intent, the proposed construction, there is no intent to remove the existing tree. So we understand that there might be some injury in terms of roots since they're expanding into the property, and the trimming of the tree branches. That's what we will apply for to the forestry to get the permission to do if it's required. In regards to the sequence of construction with the 771, the intent original was indeed to apply concurrently, and but unfortunately with some changes to the design and some coordination with the owner of 771, we completed the 773 earlier, and the 771 was completed later. So we submitted the 773 first, and we submitted the 771 after. The design approach in terms of proposed construction for both units, it's the same. It's a wooden structure. It's designed the way that it's independent structure except the shareable posts in the middle. And as you can see on our drawings, the shareable posts, they're allowed for future connection of the adjacent deck. This is actually what was done as we see on adjacent properties further along that building. As I said, we do not see any issue to start construction at the same time. Just worried about putting that as a condition if the owner of 771 may delay application or further review or application, or may decide not to build that, which is not intended to do, but just as a precaution.
Panel members, do you have any questions? Okay. Let's take it into committee. Mr. Reed.
I think this application is entirely reasonable. It's mimicking what's happened already in the backs of this townhouse complex, and regardless of what the timing and what's happening with the neighbor, I think this is a defensible application on its own merits, and will have no negative impacts on the neighbor. So I move to approve the application subject to urban forestry condition 1.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, including forestry number 1, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor? The application has been unanimously approved. Okay, item number 23. Lamb Avenue. We have before us a copy of the survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, 7 form letters in support, signed by occupants of number 50, 34, 60, 62, 51, 49, and 48, which is adjacent. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, yes, my name is Mike De Oliveira. I'm with Replacement Design, located at 911 Davenport Road.
Okay, do I have the speaker on the line?
Madam Chair, there was a speaker, either in support or opposition. She joined the hearing and then chose to leave after joining. So I had initially sent her a call so that she could join, and then she left.
Okay, do you want to try her once? I don't know, do we know, it's unclear whether she's opposed or not.
Yeah, typically what we do is we phone them, and then if they join and then choose to leave, we don't bother with them any further.
All right, panel members, again, a very straightforward application. Do you have any questions for Mr. D'Oliveira? Seeing none. Okay, sir, Mr. D'Oliveira, we're ready to go into committee. We've read the materials. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
No, just quickly, I'd like to point out that the existing home is already over at 0.71. So our change is only really 0.08 from the existing conditions. So we're only talking about 10.7 square meters here. We're keeping in line with the existing setbacks of the home. We're just going a little bit further with the second floor addition in terms of the depth, but we don't have a depth variance issue. It's really just the GFA and the deck setback. But the deck setback is the same as the house and is the same as the current deck. So I think overall this is quite minor and open to any questions you might have.
I don't know. We're actually ready to go into committee. So thank you. Okay, panel members, any comments? Ms. Valentini?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a very straightforward application. The agent summed it up all very nicely. I did note that the existing FSI is slightly over. So this is a very small addition in my view, and a small ask in terms of variances. And we've also heard that the side yard setback for the existing deck is what's being proposed. So I don't see any impact as a result of this. And I did note there was some neighbor support in generally the vicinity of the property in the neighborhood. So that being said, I think it meets the 4 tests, and I would like to bring a motion forward for approval without any conditions.
Okay, Mr. Reed, you're seconding. So motion to approve, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved, sir. Thank you. Item number 24, 1879 Gerrard Street East. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. No further correspondence. This one is truly minor. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Frank Rotundo. I'm with Barrett Architect, and I'm acting as the agent on behalf of the building owner.
Okay. And Mumal Qureshi, who is that?
I had emailed this person because they weren't in the hearing room, and I let them know that they weren't here when the time came, that we would move on. And that was quite some time ago, so they haven't joined yet.
Do we even know?
I don't know if they're in opposition or support, and I don't have a phone number to call them.
Okay. Mr. Rotundo, does this name, are you familiar with somebody named Mumal Qureshi?
No, it doesn't ring a bell, no.
Alrighty. Okay, panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? I don't think we need a presentation. Okay, Mr. Rotundo, we're ready to go into committee. We've read the materials. Anything you want to add?
No, that's about it.
All right. Okay, we're in committee, panel members. Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a truly minor application. It's tucking a new extension underneath an existing patio, and both neighboring buildings are full length of block buildings. So this is just kind of hidden away underneath. I can see 0 negative implications or impacts, so I move to approve without conditions.
Seconded by Mr. Clay. Okay, motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 25, 77 Shaw Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have an order to comply that affects this property. Correspondence in opposition from number 79 and 75, so both adjacent neighbors, as well as 81 and 83 Shaw Street. And I'm showing 2 speakers, both adjacent neighbors. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes. I'm the agent for 77 Shaw Street, and
what's your name?
My name is Jianhai, Jianhai.
Jianhai Tong, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir, I need you to do a presentation on this application. We do have 2 speakers, and I would like to note that concerns that were raised in their correspondence is regarding the foundation, the view, shadowing, that the bathroom existed previously, that it's in fact not new, or I'm sorry, that it's new, that it wasn't there before. And they have some other issues regarding construction, plumbing, vents, interior alterations in the basement, and the staircase. So if you can incorporate some of that into your presentation, that would be good.
Okay, so this it's a rear yard porch, and the existing porch, I think, is built like almost like 20 or 30 years ago, the original owner, and the new owner bought this house, and the existing porch is it's very bad condition, and so he decided to make some reinforcement and also do some extension. It's about 4 feet to the backyard, and so that's why causing the length of the building is extended, and there's but we checked, there's the rear yard, the soft landing is everything's okay except this the length of the building. It's instead of the 40 meter to 70, and also the neighbor, there's it's almost the same length to both sides of the neighbor, and I think this it's a long story. It's a history. They already extend this. I think that's gonna belong to the minor violence. Let me know. Yeah, that's pretty much it's.
Okay. All right, Ms. Gao, are you on the line?
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. Can you state your full name and address for the record, please?
Yes, I'm Kelly Gao, last name Gao, from 79 Shaw Street.
Okay, you have 5 minutes to state your objections, starting now.
Okay, I'm concerned about the overall safety of the new addition that was built without a building permit, because nothing was inspected, and according to my father, the foundation of the new addition was not built the same way as drawn out in their plans. And I sent images in my email with comments. The image is of their foundation. I saw a block of wood with cement, and it just looked like it's sitting under the new addition. Doesn't look safe. And also a post of their proposed stairs. Looks like just extending forward into the garage. We don't like it. It's next to our backyard directly, and it obstructs our view, privacy reasons, and regarding the stairs and large windows, it faces directly into our property. I'm also concerned about the fire safety of this new addition, since the townhouse is connected with no demising wall in the attic to separate the houses, and it's just basically they didn't build it with a building permit, so we assume it's not safe at all. And that's everything.
Thank you. Panel members, do you have any questions of the speaker? Ms. Valentini.
Thank you. It's just a question about the windows. So were the windows existing prior, or the windows on the side of the addition, or are they new?
Kelly, are you there?
Oh, yes. Previously there were windows, but blocked off and was much smaller windows. This time they changed it. It's like larger now, and it's just, we didn't hear anything about it, and they just built it without telling us. It just looks larger and doesn't look like there's any fire safety, like, yeah, it doesn't look, we just don't like it.
Okay, I understand, but there were windows of some sort at one point. They've changed them out to be larger, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Nipfel, did you have a question? I can't see your hand. Okay.
I think my question might be matter put to the applicant. I don't understand what takes place within the first story extension. The drawings are not at all clear. So it relates to Ms. Valentini's question. I don't know why the windows are there. It looks, according to the drawings, as though the only thing that's enclosed in that room is a stairway that goes down to the basement. Something doesn't quite make sense on the drawing. That's the drawing there. It doesn't make any sense. There's an entrance, and then you walk across and you go into another entrance into the kitchen, and then you go in a different direction, and there's a stairway. Well, I don't know what the addition's there for. So it relates to the question of the window. I don't know why the windows are there, because I'm not sure what they're providing light for.
Well, do you want to hold that for the applicant then?
Yeah, I'd like the applicant to walk us through the ground floor. And also, someone needs to explain why this proceeded without any approvals.
Okay, I have one other speaker, so let's hold that then until we have the applicant back, if you don't mind. All right.
Sure.
Thank you, Kelly. Mr. Matos, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Alrighty, we just need your name and address for the record, and then you have 5 minutes.
Sure. So my name is John Matos. I'm speaking on behalf of my parents, Isidro and Maria Matos, who are the owners of 75 Shaw Street, the adjacent lot. Again, we're opposed to the addition as it was constructed obviously without a permit, so property inspections, so on and so forth, were not conducted. A few items to discuss. As far as what was there previously, it was not a fully enclosed porch. Just the section to the bottom of the drawing, which would be the south side, had a small covering, which again wasn't even fully enclosed. And the stair leading down was always open. So that was not a fully enclosed area. The windows, again, that have been added are within 2.2 meters of our north wall, which does not meet regulation and code. Again, the construction overall, if you look at the photos in my PDF, I do submit the same photo regarding the foundation, which you do see spalling and voids. I believe that's still, yeah, no, that's hers, that's Kelly's. Yeah, those are my photos. So again, that is a 4x4 that is embedded into the foundation wall, and if you look closely, you can see obvious voids and spalling. Again, the foundation does not appear to have been installed 4 feet deep with an 8x16 footing as shown on the drawings, and there's multiple reasons I believe that it was not constructed like that. Again, the windows are 4 feet by 4 feet. Drawings indicate that that's a 45-minute rated firewall, which obviously those windows wouldn't meet that requirement. And again, you can see our wall in this picture, which is within 2.2 meters, and again, does not meet the code as per our bylaw for distance between the properties. The other issues I have are, there have been multiple other alterations done to this home. I'm very familiar with this home, as the previous neighbors were 40 years, and I've spent a lot of time in this home. I was even saying goodbye to the neighbor the week before the new owner took possession, and I can tell you for a fact that there was no bathroom on the ground floor. There were no dividing walls in the front room. Basement walls have been added. If you scroll down to my other photos, yep, right there. So the red house is 77 Shaw Street, and the next photo is a close-up of all this venting and exhaust that are within operable windows. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that one of them is a vent and exhaust for the new bathroom. I don't know what the other vent and exhaust is for. But again, these are within operable windows. If you go back to the photo just above this, you'll see my parents' bedroom window within 3 feet of these vents. Just to shorten the whole thing is, I'm in the construction industry. I'm a superintendent for a large general contractor. There are multiple code issues with what's been done here. So, which brings me now to electrically speaking. If we scroll down, you'll see a photo of some electrical that's been done there. And believe it or not, this is a correction to what was done initially, because I spoke out about all the morettes and everything that were visible on the outside. So as you can see here, this still doesn't meet code. As installed, it's an exterior cabling without shielding, without conduits. There's multiple, so now it just raises questions about the electrical that was performed throughout this entire house. What was done? Because as Kelly spoke to, 77 Shaw Street, 79 Shaw Street, 81 Shaw Street are all connected. The attic space is open right across. There are no demising walls in the attic. This is a fire hazard. If something happens to this house, all three houses are gonna go down. So my comments and concerns are, first, the addition is too long. With the stair, it's almost 21 meters long, which far exceeds by over 6 meters the maximum permittable length of the property. Again, this is just without a permit, multiple things. The only reason he's applied for the variance is because of the addition. Somebody noticed it, he got an order to comply. But my question is regarding all the other alterations that appear to have been done on the inside of this home. The home has also been turned into a tenement. Multiple tenants now live in the building, which that brings up a whole other issue. I don't believe this house meets all the regulations for a tenement, which raises the question about the stair. What is the purpose of adding this stair? I believe it to be to make a separate entrance into the second floor apartment. So there are multiple issues that we feel that need to be addressed. The addition, shoddy construction throughout, it needs to be removed. I have no issues. Multiple houses have additions in this area, but they all went through proper procedures, proper permits, proper inspections, so we can all sleep at night knowing that our houses aren't going to burn down because of this type of thing. So, again, my comments are clearly stated. None of this construction meets regulation and code. This is a hazard waiting to happen. So that's pretty much my statement regarding all the construction on this property.
Thank you, Mr. Matos.
My apologies.
No worries. Panel members, do you have any questions for the speaker? Seeing none. Okay, Mr. Tong, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, you've heard all the issues raised. Can you speak to the concerns that have been raised?
Okay, so here, that's I think the neighbor specify the things is not I mean not the minor violence to think of the bylaw. And there, like a foundation and inspector are going to come to the site, so we have to verify if there's no foundation, we can have to do the reinforcement for sure, and to do the more investigation to get the foundation done and safe. And if for like electric things, we have to based on the by the electrician to look at the detail and to be correct. If there's something wrong, we have to correct. And for the window size, I think that's all the existing. And the owner showed me the picture. They just replaced the window. That's when I go to the site. I mean all the construction already done. And owner showed me the picture of the existing window, and we just because the window is too too old and have to replace it. And also this addition is just the porch. There's no heating inside, and so it's considered the owner just want because the existing condition is too bad, and they just want to replace it. And regarding the stair to the second to the deck, there's the exterior stair. They just want to get the more access to the deck on the roof of the porch. They actually build the deck above the existing the porch. So I don't think that's gonna be the issue for this. And all the things considered, is based on the existing situation, and this porch is stay here almost like 30 years, and the owner just want to replace it and make like a 4 feet addition and close it. I think that's if you check the length of the building, and you can see the Google Maps and find the neighbor. It's a length almost the same.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any other question. If I forgot, but yeah, good to ask me.
Yeah, I believe that Mr. Nipfel has a question. If maybe staff can bring up that floor plan again. The
applicant sort of addressed part of it. It's the proposed ground floor plan. Yeah. He's referring to this as a porch. In fact, it's not. It's a room. It's a fully enclosed room that has windows on either side. And as I understand your submission, basically why did you want to enclose it in the first place? All it actually includes is a stair to the basement. Is that correct?
Yeah. Before, for sure. Yeah. I saw the picture that before this porch is, it's open, and then they just want to replace the owner want more. But this is not the living space. There's no heating getting into the room. So
it's potentially living space though, because it's a fully enclosed addition to your building, and it's got windows, and it's got an entrance. I don't, frankly, from my perspective, I don't see any reason for the addition. I don't. It's not that you're providing necessary habitable space. I think the addition is an intrusion into your neighbor's privacy, and it's made worse by the fact that there's a deck on the top that with access by this monumental stairway, which is itself a privacy concern that I can see. You've said nothing that convinces me that any of this work is necessary.
So if you think the deck, the stair, we can talk to the owner to remove the stair, the exterior stair, but the building he expect to remain. So I don't know why the stair, you have concern about the stair, but anyway. But right now the owners already take off the exterior stair.
People using the stairway are above the adjacent properties, and there's a privacy concern. There's a privacy concern. I could see privacy issue there. There's a privacy issue with the deck. The deck's only there because you put an addition on the ground floor. You've provided absolutely no reason for this addition being required. So I don't see any reason for any of this construction to have taken place, on top of which it took place without necessary permits.
Ms. Valentini, did you have a question? And then Mr. Clay.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm a little confused about variance number 2, which is the request for setback between main walls of the townhouse. 5.5 meters is required where there are no openings to dwelling units in those main walls, and you're requesting 1.22 meters. So where there are no openings to dwelling units, is that referring, I don't know who can help me with this, but is that include windows? Because we see there are windows on both sides. I'm not sure. Can somebody explain, maybe the agent can explain to me what exactly that variance is asking for? Because there are windows, so those are openings. Is that correct?
Yes, but there's an existing window, and the owner he said he just replaced it.
And what side is that on? Because your site plan's in feet and it's not in metric, so I'm assuming this is a variance requested for, I guess it's the north side? I don't know.
Sorry, which window you said on the...
What side? What is it, the north side that you're requesting the variance for, or south side? I'm not clear where this variance requested is located on the drawings, on the site plan.
Okay, I think that's talking about, just hold on a second. It's on the south, I think it should be on the north side, right? Road north side.
South side.
On the south side?
Yeah, north side, yeah. North side is about 4 feet between the neighbor wall.
That's 1.22 meters then?
Yeah, 1.22 meter, yes.
But it says no opening, so.
But there's an existing opening, existing opening in this existing porch, and the owner said he's just replaced it, and he showed me the picture, the original existing porch.
I guess I'm just wondering if that variance is correct because it says no opening, so I'm just throwing it out there for clarification.
Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, can you weigh in, please?
I'm looking at the zoning notice, and the variance as written reflects what's in the zoning notice.
Yeah. So now there's an opening. So perhaps when the zoning examiner looked at it, there wasn't. I'm not sure why he would miss a window, he or she, but I suppose that's possible. Mr. Clay.
Thanks, Chair. I must confess I have a number of concerns with this application. I'm sure we'll get into it when we go into committee, but I was quite intrigued by Mr. Matos's presentation. And Carl's referred to it already. This application was undertaken without the benefit of permits. And I just want to ask the applicant a couple things, why didn't you guys seek a permit to do, I mean, I get when you reconstruct an existing room, sometimes you don't know that, but you extended it 4 feet. The neighbor's asserting that you've done some fairly significant electrical work and shown some photos. It appears the neighbor indicates that there's been some plumbing work done, which also requires permits, and each of those things require inspections for safety. I'm just curious as to why you didn't seek those permits in advance of constructing all this.
Okay. When I hire by the owner and go to the site, and the construction is already done, and I believe the owner get the city inspector to come to the site because they do the construction without permit, so they stop the construction and start to do the building permit application. So that's why at this time, after the porch, the new porch is already done, and so I involved this design and to specify all the existing situation and the new construction, and put everything go to the city and find there's a zoning problem. So that's why we come here to the minor variance. So when I involve this project, it's the construction already done. So that's the owner. Yeah, they didn't understand. He saw just like a repair or just a reinforce, and he probably don't have knowledge about this a building permit. So they did the construction without the building permit, and now find there's a zoning issue. So yeah, so that's the history reason.
Any further questions, panel members? anything, sorry, you want to add, or you're?
Through you, Madam Chair, just looking at the permit drawings reflect what we have before committee, showing existing windows on the north and south sides of the addition.
So then I guess to Ms. Valentini's point regarding variance number 2, it talks about a distance between main walls where there are no openings.
That's, as I said,
Yeah, I
reflective
know
of the
it's what
zoning
the
notice.
zoning, I know it's what the zoning identifies, but, okay. If there are no more questions, then we'll take it into committee. Mr. Niffel.
Madam Chairman, this is a very complicated application, and I'm sorry to say I think it's one without any merit at all. The issues are substantial. Construction proceeded without appropriate approvals and permits. The adjacent owners have identified a number of difficulties that they believe place their properties and adjacent properties at risk because of improper construction, and I know that that isn't our concern, but, or not our area of influence, but the fact that there isn't a permit and would appear that there are a number of things not quite right about this application is troubling. The issue that we frequently look at is, in a case like this, what would happen if none of this was constructed and we were looking at it as a proposal? So stepping back and looking at this as a proposal, I would not recommend approval of this as a proposal. I see no merit at all in the addition to the house. It's for no reason. It's enclosing a space that does nothing but provide access to the basement, which was already being provided within the confines of an existing porch. The deck on the second story is a huge impact to the property owners on either side. The stairway that leads to the deck further exacerbates that problem because people using the stairway are perched above the adjacent rear yards. I frankly can't see any reason for this application to proceed, and I would like to bring forward a motion that it be refused.
Okay, Mr. Clay.
Yeah, I'm fully prepared to second Carl's motion, but I did want to just add a little bit of commentary because this one quite troubles me as well. You know, we do see some from time to time development or construction happening without permits. In some cases, they are legitimate errors or oversights. I don't believe that's the case in this situation. I wanted to thank Mr. Matos particularly. He was not only a neighbor, but he's a very credible neighbor from a construction perspective. And frankly, I look at the drawings that are before us, and we have to approve something based on drawings. And based on what I'm hearing, I don't have any confidence, frankly, that we would be approving an application where the drawings are accurate, particularly with respect to the foundation. I am quite concerned that this addition has proceeded without the benefit of expertise, without the benefit probably of qualified construction folks involved, and even from the photos, from what I know about construction, clearly, you know, the plumbing and the electrical changes aren't to code at all. So I'm very concerned not only about that, but what's below grade. And so I don't have confidence enough in the material that's before us that it's accurate to be able to support this application. And I am very concerned that it proceeded without permits. So I don't support it either. And I don't know if Lisa or Peter have any concerns or comments, but I'm happy to second Carl's motion in that regard.
No concerns? Ms. Valentini?
Thank you. I do have concerns with the application. A lot of them do stem from the fact that, you know, the windows may be existing. You know, whether they've been enlarged or not. I think even having an extension with windows that look directly in a tight neighborhood onto adjacent neighbors, I feel is an intrusion. And I have concerns about the deck, to be honest. I've got concerns about that large staircase and the impact it has on the neighbors. So I'm not in support of the application as well.
I'll just jump in. I'm echoing the other members' concerns. I mean, I don't really have a problem with, in principle, with enclosing and expanding the back porch to create a room. I think that kind of mimics the pattern of development in the area. But I think Larry's comments more around the credibility or reliability of what we're seeing is my main concern. But it's obviously the photos from the neighbors are very helpful in understanding the deficiencies. Again, that's not us, but I think the staircase plus the question of reliability of the materials are my concerns.
I'll just weigh in on this one because it really raised a lot of red flags for me, and I echo everything that everyone has said, and I would like it noted in any decision that the committee agrees, or would like it noted that we have serious concerns regarding the construction and the plumbing electrical as it relates to the building code. Okay, so Mr. Neffel, that was your motion to refuse the application, and that was seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? The application has been, are you dissenting, Mr. Reed? Oh, he's frozen. I thought he was in
I'm
support.
here.
You're
I
in
voted in favor.
You're in support. Okay, so you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but your application has been unanimously refused. Okay. The next item is item number 26. 96 Withrow Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have 6 form letters in support. That includes the owner at number 98, which is adjacent, and correspondence expressing interest or concern from number 94, which is the other neighbor. And I believe they're looking for a letter she has sent in to be on file, kept on file, and party agreement and agreements with neighbors. And I just would like to say that most of these issues are civil matters that the committee doesn't have jurisdiction over. Having said that, do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Christopher Smith with Woodsmith Construction.
Okay. Do we have? Yeah, we have opposition, sir, from 94. So can I ask you to do a presentation, no more than 5 minutes, please?
Sure, no problem. Yes, this is a small addition to the rear of an existing property. I would like to note that we have met with the neighbors at 94 to reassure them of the construction process in regards to their concerns with the party wall agreement, understanding that any sort of construction will be undertaken with building inspections and engineers to deal with all of their concerns with possible disruption to their foundation. And obviously they have a little cherry tree that they want us to sort of protect during the construction process, which we're happy to do. I am also the facilitator of the construction, so it helps from giving them the reasoning behind the design and the thought process of how this will proceed. The application that you have in front of you is obviously very minor in variance. We're just an FSI requirement here, and it's because the existing building is over on their FSI to begin with. It passes the 4 tests. I think it's fairly reasonable in nature. Thank you.
Okay, before I go to the owner of 94, you would be okay with us noting in the decision, not as a condition, but just noting it, that you will undertake to take care of the cherry tree and the party wall?
Absolutely, for sure.
Okay, thanks. All right. Do I have the owner of number 94 on the line?
Yes, this is Ken Ross.
Okay, you have 5 minutes starting now.
I don't think I'll use all 5 of them.
Okay.
Just a correction, it's not an opposition in terms of our interests. It was just really, as you said, to note our concerns moving ahead, especially around the party wall. And as the builder has said, yes, we have met with him, and he has, as well as the neighbors, they understand our concerns and have given us assurances that those concerns will be addressed through the party wall and other communication. It's outlined in the attached letter, and with good communication moving forward, I'm sure that we'll be able to have our concerns met.
Okay, Mr. Ross, so you do understand the committee doesn't have the jurisdiction to impose such conditions because they are civil. We only deal with the variance, in this case 1. But as you heard, we will note it in the decision document in the minutes that the agent, Mr. Smith, will undertake to take care of the cherry tree and the party wall with you. So again, if we can't impose it as a condition.
Understood.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Mr. Smith, are you there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay, panel members, do you have any questions for Mr. Smith? Okay, we're ready to go into committee. As you said, it's a very minor variance. Is there anything you want to add before we go into?
No, I think that's pretty much everything.
Okay, alrighty. Okay, panel members, we're in committee. Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. This is an extremely minor application. I think the variance being requested is 2 meters above what's permitted, 2 square meters. And I think that the way they've structured this room in the back has been tasteful and goes to limit any negative impacts on the neighbors. I think retaining it at 1 story instead of going up 2 is commendable. So I move to approve this application, subject to adding the notes as the chair has mentioned regarding the tree and the party wall.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? Mr. Clay, so motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Clay, all in favor. Your application has been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 27, 30 Pasadena Gardens. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and email correspondence from the Toronto Region Conservation Authority. They are okay. There are no permits required on their end. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, yes. My name is Marian Krasiewski, 36 Pasadena Gardens. I'm owner and applicant.
Okay. Again, panel members, very minor application. Do you need a presentation? I don't believe so. Do you have any questions for the agent or the owner? Mr. Clay.
Just looking at the site, just want to confirm, so this addition is already under construction, is it, or is it completed?
No,
It's not?
it's not.
It's not under construction?
Well, I had a side back addition done, so and it's been finished. Separate single car garage. Where
Oh, I see. So the photo I'm looking at on Google, so that's the back addition? So your addition is a side addition just in front of that?
yes.
Okay, that's good. That's helpful. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, sir, is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions before we go into committee? Mr. Krasiewski?
No.
Okay. All right, panel members, let's take it into committee for a decision. Mr. Niffel?
Madam Chairman, I think this is a very supportable application. The variances requested are minor, extremely minor. And the addition that's proposed is already tucked within an opening on the existing building. I don't see that it could have any negative implications or impact on adjacent properties or the neighborhood. I think the request clearly meets the 4 tests. I'd like to move approval without condition.
Mr. Reed, you're seconding, so motion to approve moved by Mr. Nifl, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. Okay, final item today is item number 2873 Denvale Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Forestry is asking for condition number 2. Do I have the agent on the line? Okay. Can you just say something again? I could barely hear you.
Hi, my name is Roy Chan. Can you hear me?
Yep, got it, but you're still, maybe speak up a little bit if we have any questions. Panel members?
My name is Roy Chan. I'm the agent representative for the owner at 73 Denvale.
Okay. I don't think we need a presentation. It's a very, it's one variance. Panel members, do you have any questions for Mr. Chen? No questions? Okay, Mr. Chen, we have no questions. We've read the materials. You're aware of the forestry condition, and we're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add?
No, there's nothing I want to add.
Okay, thank you, sir. Panel members? Mr. Clay?
Sure, I'll take this last one. This is, again, as you know, a very straightforward and very simple variances, and I don't think it would have any negative impact on the street or the neighborhood at all, and I'm happy to move approval, subject to forestry condition number 2.
Okay, seconded by Ms. Valentini. So motion to approve, including the forestry condition, moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Okay, your application has been approved. Okay, everybody in favor of adjourning? It's 11:57. Okay, committee stands adjourned at 11:57. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks again.